Hello and welcome to Wrike's Product Management Meetup. My name is Arkadiy and I'm leading one of product units here, automation unit, but today I won't talk about automation. Today I want to talk about where do product managers come from. For sure you can hire a product manager, but where do they come from initially? Where are they born? There are some courses that teach how to manage a product. There are probably even some high schools that teach that have corresponding specialization. But I believe that still at the moment, majority of new product managers are grown internally in their companies where they worked as somebody else in any other department. So today I'd like to talk about how do we grow product managers internally in Wrike. Do we grow them? Definitely yes. Among 25 plus product managers that we currently have in our product organization, 7 either product managers or associate product managers were adopted internally from other departments. It's not a majority, but still it's a good share of the product department. So why do we bother? Maybe it's because making a product manager from another team member is simple as 1 to 3. If yes, then we can make this simple plan, decide what we want to achieve, find an internal candidate, build a development plan for them, grow, mentor, and that's profit. Thank you. That's it. If everything was that simple, then yes, I won't even talk about this. The issue is that each of these items, each of these points is a lot more complicated than we think about. And what's more, not all of these plans actually come to success. Some of them fail, some of internal candidates, even good internal candidates, just cannot become good product managers. Let's talk about each of these items in details. And what's also interesting, do you notice that if we change just a couple of words and phrase it as find a product hypothesis, everything is the same as you usually work in product. Finding and growing a good product managers is the same as testing a hypothesis. The only issue is that you usually don't spend a year on testing your product hypothesis validation. So let's go and let's start with probably the most important thing, why. What is the goal and why would you ever try growing your product managers from your existing team members? There are some goals that might sound obvious and intuitive when you're thinking about internal promotion, like it's a way to speed up hiring, it's a way to find new people to your product team faster than you can get on the market. It's maybe about saving some budget because definitely when you promote somebody internally, it's assumed that the wage would be lower, at least at first stage, according to the grade and to the maturity level. And you may think that people who are loyal to the company and who know the product would perform better. But those are false goals that may mislead you. Because training a product manager from scratch, from a person who knows how to do something effectively but still doesn't know project management basics can be a lot longer than just hiring somebody. It's also more expensive because those people would fail, and failure is definitely an essential part of progress. So you would probably save some money on the wages, but not on the product. And loyalty is a good motivation factor, and definitely those people would be very loyal, but professional would still act more, would still be more productive than loyal amateur. So what are the real goals? There are some things that we identify in Wrike, and those things are less material than the things that I mentioned before that. First of all, when you hire a lot of new team members, and it's not only about product, and you definitely hire a lot when your company is growing in an incredible speed, that would dissolve your culture, that would dissolve your traditions, your processes, and if you want to extend and grow product culture, then it's a good idea to take those people from your existing teams, because that culture would be already with them. Second is internal hiring is still slow, and while we do not want to substitute it entirely, we want to supplement it with some internal hires. And third is that it's a question of motivation. Your team always desires promotions and development opportunities. And by creating this program, by allowing people to grow into product managers, you give them those opportunities. You increase motivation and loyalty of the whole team, not just of the product departments. So, as we defined why, let's move to the who. Where to find the best candidates for product management. And it's funny that I think that the verb find, the verb search is not a correct verb here. Instead of actively looking for somebody, you should just open your door a little bit and wait for people who come to you. If you think about the most important skills for a product manager, yes, there are some hard skills, there are some communication skills, but in my opinion, the most important is responsibility and being proactive. So by waiting for the people who show those signs of proactiveness and responsibility, you wait for the most proper candidates, rather than actively asking who'd like to be a product manager. Those signs might be things like your development team members who are willing to help you, who are trying to improve the processes and the product that you are building. Those might be people from other teams who are proactively reaching out to you with information from customers, with information from the market, that are willing to argue with you about your product solutions. And most important, look for people who show care for the product. Because without care for the product, there is no responsibility and there is no product management. What are the sources that are, let's say, the most usual as potential product managers? Each of them has their pros and cons, and different people might be more successful in or less successful in different things, but there is some statistics. I know a lot of product managers who grew internally. I know product managers who came from the market, and I can notice some things that are usual for this or that department. First of all, for sure, it's UX design. Those are the people who are closest to the product, and those are the people who are closest to you personally, who are working with you as partners. So they know almost everything they need to know. They know the product, they know customers, they know customer problems. The only issue is that they mostly think about solutions rather than think about a product. They know how to solve customer problems, but they do not know how to solve business goals, how to achieve business goals, and they do not know how to prioritize things according not only to customer problems and customer pains. Second source is development, engineering department, for sure, because those are people who build the product. So they naturally start to think about how to build it better. They know how product works. They know what is possible and what is not, which is one of the most important things that a product manager should know. But they're still usually too technical. They think code and not product. You have to explain them that there are a lot more things around their product than just the technical product itself. Third source is customer success, customer support, professional services, deployment. Anybody who who does consulting for our customers and interacts with them. It's an obvious source because those people have two natural great skills on their side. They naturally talk to customers and according to that, they naturally know what are the customer pains and needs. They may be great product managers, right, because of this fact, if not this fact, because they are too customer-centric, and usually they tend to accept everything that customers talk to them. And they also tend to think solutions rather than problems. So you have to work with them to change this mindset. As with all of the other sources, you have to change mindset once again. Fourth source that I'd like to underline is product analysts. People who are also your partners are people who are helping you to ask your product questions and ask to solve your hypothesis. They are very good at critical thinking, and that's one thing that stands out in product analysts. They also understand how to work with hypotheses, which is also a very important skill. But still, they also have their downside. They think numbers, and sometimes they do not see a product behind those numbers. If you remember metrics, this screen with running numbers, that's how a product might look like in product analyst eyes. And you have to explain them everything that's beyond that. Facts about Wrike, as you can see, almost half of all associate product managers that joined our product organization throughout last 5 years were from UX design. 3 joined from customer success organization, either customer support or customer success. And there were 3 people joining from product analysts, developers, and marketing. There may be other departments, so I do not limit these sources to the sources I mentioned. But I think that the 4 I mentioned are the most common ones. Next one, what? What to plan and what to set as a goal for new candidates from outside the product organization. Key factor to success is to define a plan. I know examples, I had this example on one of my previous jobs where we just took an associate and tried to develop them into somebody. And that was a never-ending story, which is not a great example. So defining a personal development plan and making it as specific as possible is key to make it successful and not too long lasting. What do you have to define? You have to define what should be improved, what skill gaps does the candidate have. You have to define assessment criteria. How would you check that these gaps are actually covered? You should define the goals of what should be the final stage of moving towards these directions and closing these skill gaps. And those should be SMART goals. They should be measurable and clear to both you and your candidate. And you should define duration so that it's not unlimited and that it ends on a proper date. How does it usually look like in Wrike in terms of timeline? Usually we have a preparation period of around 1 month. It's when a person still acts on their previous job position, but starts to take some simple tasks that helps them understand what is it to be a product manager and that help them to get some basic training and preparation for an assessment. Then we do an assessment itself, and it's the same job interview that we have for external candidates. The only difference is that we assess it according to the understanding of their skill set and the level. Afterwards, a probation period starts. They join the product organization as associate product managers, but they still have a probation period. They should understand that joining the product organization doesn't mean success automatically. You have to prove yourself and you have to grow yourself in order to be a fully privileged part of the product team. Afterwards, there is another assessment where we assess results of this probation period. And afterwards, the person becomes an associate product manager. I mean a full member of a product team at an associate grade. This stage may last up to a year and even more. In average, I think In Wrike, it's around a year. And that's a period during which a person can actually grow to a middle level product manager. By the way, why do we call those associates and not junior product managers? It's to underline that the main thing that a product manager should achieve is independence. And associate is still an associate to somebody. They still need a mentor, they still need a lead to act and to perform as a team member. The last question, how? What are the practices and how do we achieve these goals of growing a candidate into associate product manager and then into a fully privileged product team member? Best practices of growing a product manager is to not grow them, but let them grow themselves. You have to define the goal and to synchronize this goal so that you both understand what is the goal here. And then you just let them fail. You let them try, retry, fail, and learn on their own failures. And you do not micromanage. That's the most important thing. Instead, you microfeedback. That's how I'd call it, and that means that you assess and evaluate everything that happens. You evaluate all of the actions, but you do not prevent these actions from being done. You give feedback about each of those actions and about things that can be improved. Because you cannot teach yourself, you cannot learn if you do not understand what is the consequence of each of your decisions. So that's the most important thing. Sounds easy? Yes, but actually not for everybody. Let's take a look at our numbers once again. We have 11 people joined this program as associate product managers throughout 5 years. And there were even more people who didn't pass the initial assessment. It's hard to calculate. I think maybe a couple people more. And only 5 of them achieved product manager grade, with 2 more still in progress. It means that there are several people who were lost somewhere in between, and that's normal because not everybody can become a successful product manager, even if they think so, and even if you think so at the moment of initial assessment. You should be ready for that, and people who are joining your product team should also be ready for that. Let's recap. So as an epilogue, let's recap those thoughts that might come in your head when you think about growing a product manager internally. The only true fact about these facts is that all of them are lies. You may think that growing a product manager internally is cheaper and faster, but it's not. You can be sure that an internal candidate would be more successful than an external one, and that success rate is guaranteed or almost guaranteed. No, it's not. You think that in order to find a good candidate, you have to search for them and ask who would like to be a product manager. No, you should just wait for them. And you think that you should train them, lead them, mentor them, and grow them. No, you shouldn't. What you actually do and what are the real facts is that, yes, if you need a product manager cheaper or faster, you should forget about this. Just go and hire somebody on the market. If you need 100% success rate, once again, forget about that. But if you understand what is the goal of this internship and this growth program, if you understand that you want to develop your product culture, how and in what direction you want to develop your product team, then everything you have to do is to wait for proper candidates with the door slightly open, and then let them try, fail, retry, and finally succeed. And if you do that, you would succeed either. Thank you, and that's all. I'm ready to discuss any questions if you have it.